Do it!
Hey guys, and welcome out to the Pod of War Gamescast. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, joined this week by Xbox Live CW Lanky
Hello.
and Amazon Luna's Massive Das.
Hello, everyone. Not at the moment.
Not yet. Soon.
Not yet.
Soon.
It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. So we're back again to talk about video games. Yay! So not a lot's happened this week, really, to be honest with you. We've spent 10 minutes trying to think of a topic for this show, and we still haven't. So we'll see what the episode gets called by the time we get done with it.
Yeah.
So before we get to that, we've got to get to the bit we do every week. It's what we've been playing, what we've been buying, what has been happening. So let's start with the sexiest of men, Mr. Craig Warren.
Sorry, I thought something was about to happen. From the Xbox side of things, it is only really two games. And that is a Memoir Bleu from Game Pass. Which I don't think Chris has played yet. Right? Oh, no, you have played it,
yeah.
Yeah. And this, I'm going to read this like description of this for you, Dave, because this is brilliant. A Memoir Bleu is an interactive poem about a superstar athlete and the all-encompassing love between a mother and daughter. And if that sounds...
How many minutes
like...
did the 1000G take? That's all I'm interested
about
in.
an hour and 15 minutes.
That is
so
an hour and 14 minutes too long.
Yeah. You can basically, if you just do a little playthrough, it's only like an hour, I want to say.
Yeah, I did a little playthrough on it. I was waiting basically for the post to come for, a game pick up. So I was like, I'm going to play this because I heard it's like 45 minutes long. And, it's on Game Pass. So
It's hardly
yeah,
a ring
I'll play that.
endorsement, boys, to be honest.
No, it's not great. It reminds me a bit of Florence, and Florence is, a better game. Also published by Annapurna as well. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's like a point-and-click adventure sort of game.
Yeah,
It's not very long. It's a little bit puzzly. It's quite straightforward. It's fairly up its own ass, but it doesn't take up too much of your time.
Yeah, I
so it's
didn't really.
nice.
Also, like you say, it's point-and-click. Like playing it with like a controller. I don't know if it might have felt a little bit better playing it on PC with mouse and keyboard, and it is on like Switch as well. And it's not very expensive. It's only a $5. Like if you could use the touchscreen, it feels like a mobile game that someone's put on a console.
Yeah, one good
No,
thing
it isn't
does-
actually on mobile.
Yeah, it does
Funny
do
enough.
is if you press one of, I can't remember what button it is, but it kind of shows you everything that you can interact with on the screen.
Yeah, but there's one like mini game where you basically got to like paint or like thing, and like a receipt. Like if you're playing that on the phone or like I said, a Switch touchscreen, you actually would do it with your finger. But yeah,
Yeah, but it makes it kind of fairly intuitive, so you're not kind of just sat there for a long space of time trying to figure out what you do. It kind of just keeps on flowing through.
yeah, just get you through the story because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and then it does open up a little chapter select, so you can just go in and mop up any achievos that you've missed along the way. So it doesn't take very long. It's not too offensively bad. It's just not amazing in any way. I think some of the music in it's quite good actually, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, the music's fairly good.
Yeah. So I finished that. I got the completion of that one. And the only other thing I played on Xbox is Cyberpunk, which obviously I had last time we did the podcast. I did a little 5-hour demo. I think I'm up to like 11 hours on my save or something like 11, 12 hours. Still enjoying it. It's done the classic thing now where there's just side quests everywhere. So I'm just running all over the place doing side quests whenever I can. It does the classic thing where it kind of warns you if you're not high enough level. So I've kind of been avoiding that and then trying to like get to the point where I can do some of them as well. But yeah, I'm enjoying that, and I keep on cracking through that. Story's great. There's already had some like big moments. Some characters have done things that I wasn't expecting already, which is it's always good. I was hoping it would be at least have a good story in it, and it seems to be so far. And then on the Switch, I think last time we did the podcast, I was at the end of Triangle Strategy. I think I literally had like one or
Yeah, I
two
think
more
you were on the
battles.
last chapter or the
Yeah,
last battle. I think you said.
yeah. So I finished that now. Did the
Mm.
last battle. I did take a couple of attempts at the last battle for the. I think obviously it changes depending on what you do and what your choices are, what last battle you get.
Mm.
I'm guessing me and Chris got the same one, but the main boss and it has some like ridiculously OP like powers that can just like pretty much wipe half your team in one turn, which is a little bit frustrating first time, and you kind of have no warning that's going to happen. But I managed. I think after it might only take me 2 attempts actually, but I got there with that, finished that game off. The ending I got was pretty good. I thought it does the class like not everything's good, not everything's bad. There's
It does that. I've seen all like 4 endings, apart from maybe the Golden Root one. It does that with all the endings. There's some good in it, and there is some bad in it as well.
which I think kind of like it kind of encompasses the whole game, which is kind of cool. So I finished that now. I think my save was like 46 or 47 hours, so quite a lot of time in that one. And then I picked up Kirby. I only paid like £40 for it, so that was obviously for a brand new Switch game isn't too bad. I've not finished it yet. I've only actually because it gives you a little percentage score as you go. I'm only like 33, I want to say, or 35. I'm in the desert land for anyone that kind of
Oh,
knows.
cool. Yeah, that's like especially like the opening level. There's like this, I almost took like a screenshot of like the opening shot of Kirby in the desert land. It looks, beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, just playing through that, enjoying that a lot. But so it does look very good on the OLED. All the levels are very kind of bright, and I think it kind of like hides maybe some of the technical difficulties that the game has in the fact that the levels are so kind of vivid and bright, and it does all the classic video game tropes. So there's you're in your desert level now, and you got the ice level, and we got the tropical level.
Mm.
We've seen it all before, but they do it pretty well. I've also been doing the side challenges as I go, which are quite fun because the main actual levels are just very easy.
He says that. He says that.
Okay, they might get harder, but so far they're like fairly pitifully easy. But some of the other ones, because they have time limits, actually challenge you a little bit more, which is quite fun. But some of them do kind of expose some of the game's kind of mechanics in the way that you kind of only use one stick in the whole game. The other stick just kind of moves the camera a tiny, tiny bit, which can be a bit frustrating. So when you actually have like time, you're under pressure to do the platforming. Suddenly, like it exposes kind of stuff like that. Whereas the main game's so kind of simple and so easy so far that having being like stuck to one stick doesn't really limit you too much. So yeah, kind of like it being so simple in the main game kind of makes it a little bit harder in the challenges I've found. But I've been enjoying it a lot so far. I think that's it. Oh, I did the Mario Kart extra levels finally.
What do you think?
I really is it the Ninja Hideaway one? That one
everyone's going crazy about that one.
Yeah, there's so many different pathways, and the tour ones. When I first did one of the tour ones, I was like, "Oh, this is." I mean, it looks pretty, but it's kind of just like a meh track. And then you get to the last lap on one of them, and you go like backwards through the lap.
Yeah, that's Paris. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, that's actually really cool. Like that's kind of different." So, yeah, no, I think we're all pretty good. The Sky Garden one is really cool. It looks really pretty.
Yeah, the only real duffer is the Toad one. Cut it short. There's 3 laps. It's just a basic circuit.
Yeah,
There's nothing like gimmicky about it or anything like that. That's mostly the only one I think that's a bit not great on it. But all the rest are pretty good.
Oh, and I really like the Choco Mountain remake. 'Cause obviously, being a massive Mario Kart 64 stan like I am, I feel they did a really good job of that because it's a track that doesn't like it can be a bit finicky on 64 because it's quite narrow in places. And I think if you touch the sides, it just like kills you instantly because it's kind of how the mechanics of that game works. So they've done a good job of kind of like opening the sides up a bit and modernizing it and making it work pretty smoothly on Mario Kart 8. But yeah, that's it for me for the last couple of weeks.
Nice. I said, you must be getting to a point now where Mario Kart 64 is promised pretty much in the game now. I can't think there's too many tracks left before you could just make a Mario Kart 64 remake like cup. That's what they need to add, a custom cup.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool actually if they did
That'd be a
that.
good one. But as well, before we get on to the big dog, we'll go with me first because obviously we can cycle background for the topic of the show.
Yeah, I was thinking I need to put my light on. I need to.
Yeah, it's just all of a sudden just turned into darkness. But yeah, so I've been quite busy game-wise this last sort of 10 days since our last podcast. So I've just actually pulled up my achievements because I've lost count of what I've been playing. So the first thing I knocked off, so I've been packing to move back to my hometown, which is where one of you currently abides. So I've been moving stuff around. And while I was moving stuff around, I discovered on the Xbox 360 that I have a copy of Avatar: The Last Airbender that I've never played. So I thought, well, I've got to sell this because I don't have anything else that can play it. So I smashed out the 10-second 1000G, whatever it was, for that, which is the one that you famously just press B 10 times, Craig.
Yeah, something like
wow.
that.
So it's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like licensed.
It was like one of the very first, easy 1000Gs. There was also that time where, people didn't really know what to do with achievements. So, were really, really ridiculously hard, or they were, Avatar, well, not as bad as Avatar, but that sort of simple.
It has 5
So
achievements.
this wasn't an arcade game then, because it had a full.
No, it was a physical release. I have it physically. They have actually made it recently backwards compatible, I think.
Yeah, it's backwards compatible.
But I had it on 360, and that I had a whole bunch of 360 games I took to Music Papa today that weren't backwards compatible, and obviously I don't have a disc tray Xbox anymore, so I was like, I'm moving, I might as well get rid of it. But I was like, I saw it and I was like, I don't think I've played this, and I hadn't, so I was like, I'm just gonna sit there and smash that. I played a couple of 360 games, but nothing that's worth talking about. It was a bit of a Pengles minute of this, 10 minutes of that.
Yeah,
you do it, Pengy. Okay. So that was the first 1,000 that I achieved, Craig. Then I took a leaf out of your book and loaded up a game from Game Pass called Townscaper, which is some.
That's out of Pengles' book right there.
It's on Game Pass though, so it doesn't break my rule of purchasing. Townscaper.
Oh yeah,
which was
a easy 1000G on Game Pass.
About 9-minute 1000G. Because obviously, if you've seen on the channel, I've done a video about my achievement goals for the year, and this is aiding me in my efforts to catch Chris's completion percentage and then just get a better score. Because there's no way I'm catching either of your scores, because Chris can just out Pengles me at any point. And there's no way I'm catching Craig's completion percentage, because I would literally have to complete 70 games that I've already played. So that's a long way off, unfortunately. But I did that. I was like, okay, whatever. It's on Game Pass. I don't feel guilty. Let's just play it. Just wanted that little hit, just that hit of achievements.
You just want that noise over and over again.
Yeah. After that,
I be like, can you get me Radicalica review codes?
If you can get me review codes, I'll play them, Chris. Do you know what? If you get me Radicalica codes, I'll play them, record it, and do reviews for them. I'll do more than any Radicalica player ever has. But after that, I moved on to finally finishing Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragonkeep, a Wonderlands one-shot adventure, which is the Borderlands 2 DLC they released as a one-shot standalone game to promote the second game. I've had it for a while. I got it before the new year, I think. Pete got it for me. Finally finished it. There was a bit I was stuck on. It took me 2 weeks to get through. I actually had to look up a video how to do it. It was annoying. You have to go through there's some platforms that rise at different heights, and you have to wait for them to rise at one height, and then you can run through them without getting squished. The game's fun though. It's a good snippet of the new game and a snippet of Borderlands 2 as a whole. And because it's got its own standalone 1000G, it's kind of a really cool condensed Borderlands game. It took me about 15 hours to get to where I'm on now, which is 35% of the game's achievements. The game's finished. I've done most of the side quests. There's an achievement for getting all of the side quests. And then it's one of those, because it's a Borderlands game, you have to do it with every character. There's some stuff for doing it with friends. It's one of those, if it's on sale again, it's worth doing. I think it might be in the Borderlands 2 Handsome Collection, but I don't know. It's different to that version of it, because obviously this is standalone. You have a fresh character, and some missions changed to make it a game, so I don't know how different it is. But the story's pretty good. Gives a good insight into Tina, especially after it's definitely set after Borderlands 2. So yeah, it's really fun. Like Borderlands is one of those games I've played bits and bobs of different versions of them, and I always like them, but never enough to play like the big full fat games very much. Like Borderlands 1 I played back in the day, haven't done the DLC. Me and Craig have the remaster because I got it for his birthday one year. We just haven't got around to that. Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel we've had yonks. We started as a 3 and just didn't get around to consistently jumping on. It's a game I'd love to go back and do, and I haven't, other than the 10 minutes I played on PS5, I haven't touched Borderlands 3, which looks like the best game. Wonderlands has just come out, looks really fun as well. So as a series, I think it's actually weirdly, I think, a little bit underrated. I think it gets a little bit like thrown to a side because it's Randy Pitchford. But like they're good quality games, and I think that all the Borderlands games are recommended, especially on Xbox. Like the Xbox, like enhanced ports and FPS boosts and stuff, like they're all pretty good. So that was Tiny Tina. What else have I played? I finally got around to doing some of the Valhalla DLC, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC, which I've had for a while. The season pass was on sale not too long ago, so I picked it up. Obviously, with my rules, I'm allowed to get season passes of a game I already own. That's cool. Doesn't include the new big DLC. Which is funny.
No, that's like 35
That's
quid on
35 quid
it?
on its own, and
But they're like saying it's like basically its
I mean
own
it
game.
is, but don't make a season pass if it's not going to have like the two. So I've started the Irish DLC. I actually went to Dublin last month, so it was kind of fun to go to like medieval Dublin now. I'm hoping medieval Edinburgh's in the next one, so I went to that this week. And it's really fun. I forgot how much I enjoyed that game. It's just more Assassin's Creed so far. It's like I don't know if you've played it, Chris. Did you play it?
I've not played any of the
No,
DLC.
so it's the Druid. The first one I'm doing is the Druid DLC in Ireland. It's got a couple of new enemy types. It's just more of the game. It's fun. It's a fun game. I think the France DLC is obviously bigger and more different, so I look forward to getting to that eventually. But it's a good game. It's the modern Assassin's Creed games. They're RPGs. Like the combat's fun. There's very very little assassinating, to be honest with you. Like I forget that I've got a hidden blade a lot of the time. But there you go. Playing some more of that. And today, or like last night, I got back from Edinburgh last night about 11:30. I just couldn't sleep, so I started up again Undertale on the Xbox because obviously it's on Game Pass. I know because I've got the Platinum on PlayStation. It's a fairly easy 1000G should I want it. Yeah. So I've started that. I'm actually doing a complete pacifist run, which has made the game better because it's more interesting, but it's still still don't think it's this like coming of Jesus like everyone else says that it is, but it's okay. The pacifist run makes it interesting because it basically makes it a puzzle game. Now if you don't know what a pacifist run of that game is, it's basically you can't kill the enemies, you have to talk them down, and that mechanic is actually quite well done and quite funny, but like it's difficult, but like that's the only way this game has been interesting for me so far. Like other than that, it's just a standard like Earthbound clone with great music. So but you know, I'm giving it a chance in a different way. Like I said, it's another game that's got 1,000 that I can easily attain. I'm actively hunting for achievement points at the moment to like keep myself on the right and narrow. I've done a bit more of Mad Max as well, as to do with one of our challenges. I will talk about that in more detail when I finish it because I think that game's dramatically improved by the Series S and X. So I think that's worth me talking at a lot more length when I get to it. To be honest, once I've spoken to Craig about it more, because I know he's played it when it originally came out. But yeah, but that's
there's a lot on Game Pass, like easy kind of achievements and actual kind of like little fun games that you can knock off quite quickly. Like the Artful Escape is one that I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, so
just from the music alone, I think you'd like that.
So I've downloaded. Actually, this is a little sneak peek into what I'm probably going to talk about in the next couple of weeks. I've downloaded Firewatch. I've downloaded Memoirs Blue. I've downloaded the Artful Escape. I've downloaded Full Throttle Remastered. I've downloaded what else did I download? It's on Game Pass. Obviously, we've still got It Takes Two to finish, Craig, and stuff like that. That I'm like, I've just been meaning to get to. Wasteland 3, actually, I'm going to go back to and start a fresh save because I got stuck, if you remember rightly. So like, there's stuff like that. There's some 360 games that I've started. I've re-downloaded, like Sonic Unleashed, Splinter Cell Conviction, like stuff like that. So obviously, if you watch my video that I did, that's on the channel. I'm going to self-promote myself. Watch it. It's great. You kind of, it's easier to get your completion percentage up by playing games you've started and have an achievement for than it is 100% completing a new game. So there's a lot of games, especially the 360 and early Xbox One era, where I played and must have done a tutorial, and it's just on the account. For people like me and Chris, there's a lot of those games. So if I'm going to get up, that's probably the way to go, to be honest. And then there's games like Skyrim, which I played the Xbox One version once because I have the like first level achievement. Thankfully, it's on Game Pass now, so I can just play it that way. But
is there a new set of achievements for the like next gen version?
Traditionally, they don't do that with Xbox, so I would say no.
Yeah.
Which I prefer, because it's really annoying to have two sets if you start a game on Xbox One and then there's a Series S and X version. FIFA, there is two, for example.
Yeah.
But I think a game like that would be one.
2K, like W2K22 has got two.
Yeah, so the sport franchises and companies seem to do that. I would imagine that MLB The Show does that. So another game that I'm kind of tempted to start, but I just feel like it's going to take too much time.
It's an easy-ish 1000G as well.
You're speaking all the words I want to hear, Chris.
Yeah, and also you're saying Game Pass easy 1000G is just if you want to play them, and it's got a lot of Telltale games on there as well.
Yeah, obviously, I think me and you have played quite a lot of Telltale games. And maybe we're going to talk about. I've decided on the topic of the show, so we're going to talk about that Game Pass in general a bit more in a minute. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here. When like I said to, I think I must have said it to either one of you guys or one of my friends here. I haven't actually been on my Xbox a whole lot since I moved out of where I was living. So when I came back on, about a month ago, there is so many games I do not recognize. Like so many indie games. I was just like, I have no idea what that is. Like I genuinely am just like, I'm pretty up to date on games. I'm like, what the hell is Phase Tactic? What the hell is like Breath Hedge? Like you know what I mean? Like what is this stuff? I've literally never heard of it. Like we haven't talked about it on the show. Like it's just these games that have just been on here before we leave. I have no idea. I saw my best friend's wife playing it downstairs. I was like, oh, okay. Chinatown Detective's just gone on there. Never heard of it. So you know what I mean? Like, so there's stuff like that where like, okay, there's so much game on here. I saw the Nanari games have gone on here, and Danganronpa's on here, and it's like, okay, they're good games, and didn't know they were coming to Xbox, let alone that they're coming straight to Game Pass. So yeah, just waiting for the Dirt 5 DLC to drop in price, and then we're in business. But until then, that's what I've been playing, Chris. So Chris, what have you been playing? I know you were going to buy more stuff tomorrow, but that just sets us up for next week, doesn't it? But
yeah, sure.
What have you done so far?
I might not buy more stuff tomorrow.
You absolutely will. Don't worry, it's fine. We know.
So I had a pickup and installed the pickup of Kirby as well, like Craig. Finished that. It does get a bit harder in the post-game levels after you've done what you say is the main story. Really good platformer. It's now the thing with the Switch. Obviously you've got that, you've got obviously Odyssey, which plays different, but the closest to it would be 3D World, and it's sort of been like, oh, which one do you recommend to someone now? But obviously 3D World's got that Bowser's expansion, which I've not played, but apparently that's pretty chunky bit of content, pretty good. But yeah, it plays similar to the 3D World game. Obviously that was on Switch, Wii U as well. Good. The post game stuff does get a bit harder in Kirby. There's a Nintendo sort of thing to do. They like 3D World and that they normally like the main game's quite simple, and then you get like the post game after the first lot of credits, and it ramps it up a wee bit. Yeah, so that's really good. I think I finished with like 78 or 79% or something on Kirby.
Very
so
respectable.
I think it was like 14 or 15 hours it took to finish, so it's not a short game, especially for a platformer by any means. So yeah, so that was picked up, played, good. Played Memoir Blue like Craig on Xbox. That's the only thing I've played on Xbox, nothing else. This is because I was waiting for post to come. I finished Voice of Cards Forsaken Maiden now. I think it took 23 hours to finish, so quite a chunky like RPG, really good. It's got no like weird true ending or anything like that. Pretty much the ending is the same with any of your free choices, because there's like an epilogue which doesn't change with any of the choices, so that's a little bit thing. But obviously it does lots of Yoko Taro stuff during the game, and obviously the music is done by is it OKB or something like that?
I think so.
He's done the Nier and stuff like that. He does a lot of Yoko Taro stuff as well. Obviously the music is pretty good, really durable. tempted to get the first one at some point, but when it goes down on sale. But if like a third one gets announced, I'll be much more keen to jump on it because it does end with like Voice of Cards will return. I'm like, okay, so this is definitely a series that mostly if it's easy to put games out as
Didn't they come out really close to each other as well?
yeah,
like
it's
4 months.
4 months apart.
So you might not have
So-
to wait that long for the third one. Then.
No, so that's the thing. It's like, oh yeah, I'm tempted by the first one, but it might only be 4 months' time we're getting a third one. So just jump on that. Played them. So finished Voice of Cards, finished Kirby, finished Emerald Blue. Didn't go through the Fast and G. Literally just played it. That's done. Kirby turned up. Played Kirby. That. Then I got some pickups. So this came out the same day of Kirby, and I'm yet to play it. Craig will know what it is, and it is Room Factory 5. So I got Room Factory 5.
That looks absolutely awful. I watched a couple of reviews just out of morbid curiosity, and it looks terrible. Even like the main people that are covering it is www.welovejrpgs.com. So they're fairly biased, and even they're like, yeah, it's not that great, and you're like, oh god, this looks rough. So I can't wait for the Chris Spaghetti review for that one.
Yeah, so that will be played at some point. But I finished Kirby, and then finished Kirby, then went to Voice of Cards, and then when I finished Voice of Cards, this arrived, and it is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So I've got that, picked that up on Switch. So I've been playing that. I've just finished episode 3, so I'll be moving on to New Hope. Yeah, really good thing. So far, obviously they've changed the camera angle. It's now behind the shoulder. You've now got like a combo system with when you're using your lightsaber, you like proper like zoom in with your blaster. Now, if you got a character with the blaster, there's got some like. You get like 5 levels to an episode, so like, and the levels are different. So like episode 1, you get the bit at the start of the film where you're fighting with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. Out of that, and then it's like, oh, there's a pod racer level where you fly a pod racer. So, and all the episodes are mixed up in like that. So you get a bit of vehicle, you get a bit of like running around, you get a bit of puzzle stuff between the 5 levels in each episode. So. Yeah, so I'm just about to start a New Hope and go through there. Unfortunately, we've got to play the sequel trilogy. That'll be fun. Yeah, so that's...
The mini Lego-y way they tell it is probably going to be better than the...
better than the actual trilogy. Yeah, so
Great
I've not bought any
DLC.
There's DLC for like Solo and Rogue One and all that sort of stuff.
They made that DLC instead of it putting in the game.
Because there's DLC for Solo and Mandalorian Season 1 already for it. But obviously the Skywalker Saga is the Skywalker Saga, which they are not part of.
I get it, but
did you say Rogue One as well?
Yeah, I think Rogue One DLC is available. Pretty sure it is, or it's coming.
I don't know how I feel about that, because that's a really cool feature. Like, I would love to play Lego Rogue One, but like you say, like, Day 1 DLC, it's a bit of a stinger, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a season pass, and it's one of the season pass options is Rogue One. So it might not be here yet, but I'm pretty sure Mandalorian Season 1 and and Solo are there at the moment.
It's one of those things that, when you actually think, it's probably pretty fair that they've done it that way, because you think there's 9 films worth of content.
Yeah.
You kind of know it's going to be good content, because they really haven't gone wrong. And at the end of the day, like, every company does DLC and a season pass, right? So it's like, okay, when was the last time a game came out that didn't have an Ultimate Edition that has a season pass? Honestly.
Yeah, because I just got the bog standard version on Switch, and like I know a few people have got like the deluxe one, which comes with your Lego Luke and stuff like that. I expect there's even a better one that comes with the season pass already and stuff like that.
It's one of those games that's on my it's on my December allowed list. Like, should it go on sale in December with the Ultimate Edition, it's one I'd like to pick up. So knowing that there's a significant DLC roadmap is actually kind of encouraging. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because I think it's because the films are all out, so you kind of feel like if those films weren't out, then the DLC would make sense. But again, it is called the Skywalker Saga. It is 9 films worth of content. Like,
Yeah, and it's 5 levels per film, so
yeah,
it's
you're like
45 levels.
it's not too bad. Like we've all paid for worse, so fair enough.
Yeah, I think I
One,
got it for 33, so it wasn't too.
yeah, I was gonna say one positive. It's only like even in work, it's only 42.
Yeah, and it will
And
drop
I
in price
know,
quite
yeah, and I
dramatically.
know someone who's got the ultimate edition. I think they said it was like 61 or 62, which you think like that's when certain companies are like releasing games for £70, you're like, oh, the ultimate edition only being 61, 62. It's not terrible.
Yeah, and you think the Obi-Wan show's on soonish, like that's going to encourage players to buy the game, right? So it's like it'll all add up and make sense eventually.
Yeah, so it's that. So playing that, then I randomly, because it's been added to if you remember talking, so there's a group that's bringing back PS3 games online for like their own private server and stuff. So I played a little bit because it's just added Resistance Fall of Man. So after 16 years,
And by a little bit, was it 2 games, 1 game?
I played 2 matches.
There we go.
That game is the
Old?
definition of early PS3 360. It's so beige. There's like, is that an enemy or is that a wall? I don't know. It's beige. Everything is beige. It's just the only good thing is like, oh, it's cool that this group of people are, trying to keep these games alive. Especially when you see like Nintendo, closing the eShops and stuff like that, and other stuff of like older content. And, it's cool that it's kept alive, but it's like it is an odd choice of a game to bring back, sort of thing. When bring back, I don't know, another Killzone 3 or something, because Killzone 2 is being brought back, so bring back Killzone 3 instead. But yeah, so it's a curiosity of more of a thing. I was like, oh yeah, let's just give this a bash. Someone's done this week, and see what it holds up or not. It does not hold up. But it is 16 years old, which does sound like how old?
Indeed.
Mm.
Is that all you purchased and played this week?
No, I have another purchase. I have Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Nintendo Wii.
And how much did that cost you, Chris?
A few pennies.
How much did that cost you, Chris?
92.
No, so is it Wii or Wii U?
Wii.
Wii.
Not even Wii.
Wii.
Do you have a Wii?
Yeah, I have a Wii, and obviously I
Oh,
have
so
a Wii
you
U,
could play it then.
I could play it.
How
I've done the
much-
first 2 chapters.
How much did the previous game in that series cost? The first game
Oh,
that you bought.
I only paid 140 with links on the CDI,
So
which I've traded in towards my 3DO.
So you spent £232 on the Radiant.
Roughly, because obviously it came. I think it was 120 for Path of Radiance. I think he did Link.
Well, should we agree on over £200 you've paid for the two
Yeah,
games? Then?
it was like 210. Yeah.
And will you finish them, complete them, do a video on them,
No.
talk about them in any way? Okay.
No, I'm talking about them now.
Okay. I don't think we can.
2.5 hours apparently. Yeah.
It's actually probably a very good game because the 3D classic Fire Emblems are all very fun, very hard but very fun. But Chris Pengelly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what to say. I mean, now that you're back into being the Nintendo boy, this was bound to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I have played some of that, and I've done the first 2 chapters, obviously, to make sure it works, seeing what I pay for it and stuff like that. I have been playing.
Doesn't matter if you're not going to play it.
Some Fire Emblem Revelations on the 3DS. I am now on chapter 13. So I am planning. So buying that has made me play a different Fire Emblem game thing. So I'm playing Fire Emblem Revelations at the moment. I'm on chapter 13. So I'm going through that. I should get that finished at some point. So not playing my Wii, I'm playing my 3DS.
So what you're saying, Chris, if you spent £92 to play a game you already own?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I own Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, which surprisingly, even though I paid 92 quid, people in like retro forums and that are like, oh, you got it less than 100. That's a great deal. And it was only £8 less than 100 quid, but it's a weird one. So there. So And there is one other pickup which annoyed me, and that is this. I don't know if you can see it.
No, it's made you
Oh
invisible.
no. No, I can see it now.
Just say what it is,
Oh.
Chris, for the love of God.
It's The Last of Us Part 2 covers and rarities and vinyl. So I from Mondo. This was a exclusive to Last of Us Day in November. Obviously, I've only just got this in March. Sort of thing. So it's got some obviously tracks on there. Like it's got a cover on "Take on Me." Obviously, it's sung by Ashley Johnson. On there. So I have that. So
The PlayStation lives on in Chris's heart.
Yeah,
What's
very-
this called again?
This is the Last of Us Part 2 covers and rarities. So I have two Last of Us vinyls. So I have the rarities one, and I have the one that they did for the first ever trailer of Last of Us Part 2 as well. So I have the trailer vinyl, and I have this vinyl. It's already like doubled in price on eBay and stuff, because obviously it was exclusive to Last of Us Day in November, and you
What's on
basically had to-
Spotify? I
you
could just
basically-
listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah, I've listened to it on just listened to it on YouTube. So
It's only 5
Listen-
songs, Dave. Only 19 minutes.
Chris
long.
isn't going to open that vinyl, Craig. I hope you know that.
No, I'm never going to open it. So hence why I've listened to it on, YouTube, and you can hear, the Take on Me cover by, Ashley Johnson as Ellie.
I think I'll just stick to Aha.
Yeah. So
I would have gone for the Stewie Griffin version of Family Guy.
yeah, so that is my pickups. Rare Wii games, some vinyl for PlayStation games, and just a Star Wars game which I'm playing.
How much will it take for us to change your gamer tag to Mass Hipster? Or Hipster Mass instead of Massive Das?
Why? What is hipster
You're
about?
just a bit of a hipster, aren't you? £100
Why, 'cause I bought
retro
a vinyl.
games and vinyl. What's next, Chris?
Yeah.
You be telling me
And the
about
thing is, I could buy 2 other vinyl. Actually, I could buy 3 more vinyls of Last of Us if I wanted as well.
Exciting times ahead for Chris Mangeli.
Indeed. And with that bombshell, we'll go to the topic of the show. Tots. So, my very short extra topic of the show we're going to go to, because obviously we've spent 37 minutes talking about vinyls and Path of Radiant Dawn or whatever, is our kind of current feelings and the sort of where we sit with the big three, just personally, just because it's a nice little timeless episode we can do without having to do too much research, and I think we've all got different feelings. So what I mean by that is, so for example, from our boy Craig, who's going to start us off, because I don't think I can talk straight for a bit, and I don't think anyone wants Chris to talk for 45 minutes straight on top of 20 minutes straight about the PlayStation and vinyl. Is how do you feel with how you are with where Xbox is currently, or how do you feel with Switches? Obviously, if you want to talk about PlayStation, you're welcome to, but obviously you don't have the PlayStation, so it's up to you, Craig. Okay, does that make sense? Are you happy for this assignment?
Yes.
So, Craig, you have the floor. How do you think they're doing?
I mean, I just mentioned the recent PlayStation thing quickly. I think it was the kind of meh-ish, middle of the roadist thing they could have done. And I think a lot of people have kind of agreed with that, even PlayStation people. I mean, it's good that they've done it. It makes sense that they've done it, but it's the most unspectacular kind of thing. I mean, I think if I had a PlayStation, I'd probably go for the tier 2. That probably sounds like the best value for me as someone who could not care less about PS3 games. So yeah, that's pretty much all it was for me. I mean, it's not what people were kind of hoping it was, and that it was going to be this big, Game Pass sort of thing. It's much more what the leaks actually said, and I think what Chris talked about in the last episode is
and
it's
the
pretty
only
much-
person that seemed to agree with was saying the same as me in media was Tim Getty's on Kind of Funny. He was like, yeah, it sounds like Nintendo's online plan, and it's like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, I mean, all the people who are kind of in the know were saying the same. Like Jeff Grubb was literally saying it's going to be this, it's not going to be Game Pass, and no one listened. Everyone gets their hopes up, don't they? And they should just listen to people. So that's PlayStation out of the way. In terms of Switch, I mean, the Switch for me is the shocking thing for me about the Switch is literally the amount I play in handheld is kind of crazy to me, because I play probably like 95% handheld. I very rarely actually play it docked now. I probably play Mario Kart docked, and that's about it. And even now that I have the special Joy Cons, I can't remember what they're called, the Split Pad Pro. Dave's muted. Actually, playing Mario Kart is not too bad, even playing handheld. So that's handy to say. Little pun. So probably playing a lot of kind of games I can just play in handheld on the Switch, like Kirby's fun handheld, and then maybe some of the older back catalog stuff. I've got some demos, like Metroid Dread demo downloaded. I'll probably hop into some like smaller games like that I can play alongside like the bigger games on Xbox, especially things like we're playing with Cyberpunk. That's gonna be a big game. I can't have two big games like that on the go at once. So for me, in the future, Nintendo, it's probably gonna be a lot of like handheldy stuff. Maybe some more platformers, like your Mario games I haven't played. And obviously, we know with Nintendo there's a lot coming this year. They've announced like so much already, and there's already a lot that hasn't got dates. Things like Splatoon and Bayonetta. Obviously, we know that Breath of the Wild has now been cancelled, which is sad
delayed.
to me on the
Craig, it's not been cancelled. It's been delayed.
Well, cancelled up the year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me for the old fantasy critic. So we do have that to look forward to next year. I mean, Nintendo's just it will keep on powering along with these games pretty much every month, and you just get a Kirby level game every month, which is is something to look forward to. It's not necessarily the big bangers, but it's something to keep you going. And then with Xbox, obviously, it's been weird for Xbox because they just haven't done any shows or anything for such a long time. So we don't really know a lot about what's coming. I imagine the plan is that they're just going to hit everything at once at E3, which is it's kind of exciting. It makes that kind of, I know E3's gone, but that kind of summer game fest actually it gives you something to actually look forward to, because I think a lot of the other presentations will be fairly naff like they were last year.
It'd be interesting because I think THQ have announced theirs, and it's like May or something. So it'd be interesting if like Xbox go, we're just doing it next week or something. There's no E3. There's no like real reason to do it in June now. So it'd be interesting where everyone goes if they do spread out even more or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine for them it will be June. I'd imagine there's been like quite a big roadmap and planning that's gone into this, aiming towards June. Especially because they obviously have to get like the demo footage from the studios, don't they? So they've probably all got deadlines set to before June so they can edit all together. So I'd be shocked if it was any earlier than that. So yeah, it's strange because we just don't. We know we've got like Starfield is going to be coming this year, Redfall is going to be coming this year. But other than that, they haven't announced a great deal. So I know there's been speculation like Forza and Forza Motorsport, that is, and I imagine we'll probably get some more DLC for Horizon 5, which is that's all I really want. So that will keep me going for a long time, I'm sure. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Xbox, we don't really know until E3 what the kind of roadmap is and what we're going to be getting, or E3, not E3, I guess is what we should probably call it. But until we get to there, it's hard to really judge or really kind of predict, because you can kind of speculate wildly on things that may happen this year or may happen next year. But we all know with COVID and that things get put back or moved, or like last year they announced Forza Horizon 5 at E3. It hadn't even been announced and it came out that year, so who knows if there's other stuff like that's going to come this year. So I mean, Xbox is probably the hardest to kind of predict where they are in terms of games. Obviously we know Game Pass is just great and we'll keep trundling along and keep being great. But yeah, it'd be good to get to E3 and just kind of get some dates and know some of these games that are coming, especially even for like the partnership deals, like things like A Plague Tale. I'd imagine we'll get a date for that at E3, not E3. So looking forward to that is exciting, at least.
Lovely stuff. All right, Pengy. Shoot.
Yeah, so which one would you like me to start with, Dave?
You've got the floor, buddy. You start with whoever you want to start with.
Okay, so PlayStation, right, the new thing, I don't know what we're going to call it, the PlayStation Plus and was it Ultimate and I can't remember what the
It's
other one was
PlayStation
called.
Plus Premium, isn't it? I know what it's called.
Yeah,
Premium
Premium.
Plus or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. Weirdly, I'm not that bothered about like the online or even the middle one. Like, here's 350 PS4, PS5 games. It sounds impressive as 350 games, but it's like, oh, when it launches, it's gonna have Death Stranding, God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Returnal. I'm like, cool. I played Spider-Man in 2018 or whatever it was, or and same with God of War. Yeah, no, they're fantastic games, but it's not particularly so. Even though this is now going to sound contradictory, I'm more excited about the retro games, which I obviously played like 20 years ago, but they're not like
Then you
as
definitely
fresh.
won't play.
Yeah, but they're not as fresh in my memory as that's what like it feels like I haven't played. It wasn't long ago I played God of War, where it's like, oh, when's the last time I played Parasite Eve 2, for instance? 2001 or something, most probably. So I'm more excited about that. That's on the top sort of thing, and that's like the only thing I would want out of the, you know, all the different things. If we could just like cherry pick what you wanted or something, uh, like we've done the Cloud Show where we're talking about like Amazon Luna, where you got all the different channels. It's like, yeah, I just want the retro channel, please, Sony. I don't really care about the PS4, PS5 channel or what. Not again. If you're new to the ecosystem, I guess it's going to be like, here's some great games you can play. In also a whole like just selling the PS5, there's not a huge lot that's come out that I'm interested in. Again, Returnal could be good, but it's a roguelike. I'm not too fussed about that. You got like Ghostwire Tokyo didn't review if like 70s, like mid 70s or something. So not hugely impressive, and we know it's going to come to Game Pass in 12 months' time. And I think I've already seen it quite cheap on like PC. I know this laptop can run it, but maybe there's like some other devices that could play on, for instance. So yeah, not a huge thing. It's just, again, I know that you haven't been at E3 for a while. It's like, need to like get to a big showcase event or something in the summer. I'm like, God of War coming September. I don't know, February is Final Fantasy 16, and they need to announce some of like the big hitters. The same with both of them. They both seem to like, again with COVID and stuff, most probably behind. And again, both consoles are selling. So it's like, yeah, you don't really like. Oh, we don't really need to announce a date for God of War Ragnarok because the PS5 comes in stock and sells, and the Series X comes in stocks and sells, sort of thing. So it's like, it don't really, matter. Xbox feel sort of thing. Like Game Pass is like, it's like one sort of like benefit, and it's where like I'm playing Lego Star Wars on Switch. So it is come on Switch, but I use it as like the example. Use it for like if I was to play Elden Ring, it would be on Xbox. That is like my not on Switch machine sort of thing at the moment. So like Playtale, I would, Craig mentioned I would play that on. It's coming to Game Pass, but if it wasn't in Game Pass, regardless, that's where I would, play it, sort of thing. So it's like sort of like my third party box sort of thing. And then obviously mainly playing Nintendo because, like, Craig said, they've got all the games coming. Just had Kirby. We've got this month. We've got Switch Sports. Then I don't think they got anything in May, but then we got in June. We've got Strikers and Fire Emblem Three Hopes. And then you go into July where you got Live, and then hopefully August like Splatoon, and like October Bayonetta because she's a witch, so October would make sense. That sort of thing. And then it'd be Pokemon in like November, and it's like, yeah, I've got a big Switch game. What and then you mix in your Room Factories and stuff like that. Your sort of Switch exclusive, but not from Nintendo. Mix them in as well. It's a lot of content on the Switch to play at the moment. So that's it'd be a lot for the either to for like get me to play some stuff on there. It's like what third party comes out and stuff. If what I'm gonna play that isn't on Switch this year.
That's fair, Chris. That's fair. Lovely. So I suppose for me, I'll start with you guys. Have all started with PlayStation, but I'll follow the order. I think I'll follow the order.
Yeah.
So for me, with the PlayStation Plus thing is a double-edged sword, because it's a good offering for what it is in a vacuum. For the value of what they're asking for, it's a combination of PS Now and PS Plus that's optional. It's got the 3 tiers. Fine. Like all the people have said, it's not even close to Game Pass. There's no enhancements to the older games. There's no retroactive achievements or anything. You still got to stream a heavy selection of those games. There's no option to download a lot of them. It's good for if you're just a PlayStation user, then great. It's an added benefit potentially, but it's not game changing, for want of a better term. Like, it's not. I don't think it's going to sway you too much either way. It's basically just going to make PlayStation Now in more people's things. Like, there's going to be more games on that people would normally be on PS Now that people can play with PS Plus. So, and it'll be interesting to see if that affects the quality of games on PS Plus, because that's why they've always had to have the better quality games, because they don't have the other service. So it's like, okay, fair enough. For me personally, I think the PS5 was a big disappointment when I bought it, hence why I've sold it. It just doesn't seem to be different enough to the PS4, and the transition to PS4 to PS5 is just not very good. So it makes it more difficult. When it's so similar to other platforms, it makes it difficult for that to be my main one. When everything is swayed the other way, as I'll talk about when I get to Xbox. Exclusive wise, PlayStation's a funny one for me. For every time that I like Uncharted, I can't play 4 Uncharted's a year and be happy about it. I can't play, God of War and then play Horizon and then play Spider-Man. Like, I'm so fed up of third-person action games by the second one, let alone the fact that they're £70 with no other option to buy them. It's like, okay. And we've talked about that a lot in this show. Like, if it's your only option and you don't mind doing it, then £70 a game is fine. But when you've got 2 consoles and the other console is just giving you their games day one, like, it's just one of those. So that's PlayStation. I don't want to harp on it too much. Like, it's for me, it's the bottom of the 3. I'm never going to choose it over the other 2 in any regard. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if I didn't buy a PS5 this gen again. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I just don't know how much time and money in my life I have anymore, to be honest with you. Like I said, a working PS4 cheap, maybe. But, like, even then, I could probably just go around my brother's and play the PS5 games if I wanted to be honest with you. Or, Chris when he gets his next one. But that's that. For Switch, I have a really weird relationship with the Switch, because I really play it handheld, and that's about it, apart from Mario Kart, like Craig. So it's like, and really it's only games that suit handheld, which is really turn-based RPGs. So I will always play Pokemon, Fire Emblem, games like that will always do well for me on Switch. Obviously, I'm in this unique position at the moment where I'm not buying games, so that doesn't give me much option on Switch. It's basically my backlog, which I haven't got that much left anymore. So it's,
you can now play Mario Golf this week, I think, on the N64.
On the N64, it's like I've got no interest in their older games, really. I've played them, like the rarer ones, like F-Zero X and like Paper Mario, like cool. But again, I've played most. I've been a Nintendo fan for a long time. I've played most of their games at this point. So without the new games, it doesn't offer me a lot in comparison to other things, to be honest with you. I'd rather play Football Manager on my laptop and watch TV than play my Switch and watch TV, in all honesty. Okay. And then Xbox, it's kind of, when you don't buy games, it's really always the winner, because Game Pass is just so good. Like, it really, like, you guys more than me play so many games you wouldn't normally play. Like, especially Craig, like, you played so many games you wouldn't normally play. Like, you can't even scratch the surface with Game Pass. From the 3 of us, you cannot, like, we all big gamers, we haven't played anywhere close to 40% of the library. There's just Game Pass, let alone the built-up 400 games that I have on there anyway. Again, the opposite to PlayStation. The transition from Xbox One to Series S and X is literally flawless. Like, it's practically the same ecosystem but better. So, and then they've made all your games better. Like, most games on Xbox One, games on Series S and X, and 360 games all have FPS boost. At minimum, they have HDR. So it's like old games are suddenly remastered for free. just because you have them on the new console, and it's like this just keeps adding on content. So again, someone like me that's not buying games and has a huge digital backlog, I could not run out of games. Like, I literally cannot run out of games to play. I could just play Xbox, and I'd be happy. In regards to their exclusives, I know that they've got a lot of announced stuff, not a lot of dates. That's fine. I think they get a bit of a pass because of Game Pass, and I get it. Because it's, there's always something for us to play on Xbox. I kind of like this new strategy they're going for, which is the single player games they release that don't have multiplayer have a season pass, like for example Wasteland 3, Forza Horizon, and then your big multiplayer game, they tend to make them separate games basically. So you got the free to play of Halo. I suspect the next Gears will have free to play multiplayer and that kind of stuff as well. It kind of keeps you coming back. You've also got the Game Pass reward system, which again keeps you coming back to games. It's just this whole cycle of making you want to stay in their ecosystem. The cloud works a lot better than PS Now. Like, it works okay on the phone, it works okay on the console. They're in position now. They really just need 3 or 4 ridiculous games. Like, they need a game like to get reviewed like Elden Ring, that's their own exclusive, and all of a sudden, I don't think anyone argues. It's fun to hate on Microsoft because they're the newest one and they're American. They're not the likable one. But like, Forza Horizon 5 is still the best game I've played this generation, and it doesn't really get close. Halo Infinite, some people were disappointed. I enjoyed the multiplayer. I'm still playing the single player. I've still got to get to that. That was fun. Gears 5's X and Hex enhancements great. Odyssey and Valhalla having Series X and S enhancements are great. There's just games, eventually we're going to get Perfect Dark. Eventually we're going to get Redfall. Eventually we get Senua's Saga. You know what I mean? Like, they're games that are announced. We're going to get all the games from Obsidian. We're going to get the Starfield at the end of the year. Like, you really can't argue with the amount of content that Xbox are putting forward, as well as the fact that it's, again, the biggest thing for me is the transition is so flawless that everything I've got works on this console. Like, I haven't got to buy new controllers if I don't want to. You know what I mean? It still gives me the same functionality. That's like something simple like that is like cool. If a new game comes out and gets updated, I haven't got to re-download anything. You know what I mean? Like Fortnite, they've just put out. There's a Fortnite Apex Legends. They've just put out the Series X and S version. It automatically upgraded my game for me. I didn't have to click on anything. I didn't have to download 2 versions of it. Like, simple things like that, they've got right this gen. So it's like, sure, if I'm gonna buy a game, it's realistically gonna be an Xbox game or it's gonna be a Nintendo exclusive, and that is not going to change, I don't think, this entire gen. So
it'd be Strikers or something third party, I would have thought.
Well, Strikers is first party.
Yeah.
So Strikers
for the Xbox. First party.
For the challenge, I can't see me breaking at this point because I just there's too much at stake. There's too much at stake, and like I said, I have so much to play. Like, it's actually silly. Like, so I got 52 games installed from like if we look on here, like, this is going to show you the breadth of games. Okay, like going down to the 360 games on here, we've got the Bureau, an XCOM Tale or whatever it was, that the XCOM shooter that they brought out like near the end of the 360, GTA 4, Lego Indiana Jones, the 2 Monkey Island games, because they recently announced that there's a new Monkey Island game coming. They gave Monkey Island 1 and 2 away for gold at some point. I have them both. There's 8 Sonic games installed, 2 of which I've never played. Splinter Cell, Saints Row 1 to 4 I have on because of gold. Like, you know what I mean? I'm playing Undertale. I've got Wasteland 3's DLC because the season pass is currently £4. So I was like, buy the game. Might as well get the season pass when I start it again. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, you're like, I'm not going to run out of games. I'm not going to run out of games. Got Mad Max and Metro to do for our challenge.
I'm so interested, especially for Metro for you, because Metro X is a really good game, but it ran like dog shit last gen. It was pretty choppy. I had quite a few crashes when I played it. So I'd be really interested, like, how much better of an experience it is for you, because I imagine it's going to be buttery smooth. It's going to be auto HDR. It's going to look like amazing. So
yeah, I mean, I've got 13 Series X and S games on here now. That are X and S enhanced, and most of them are last gen games, but it's just rejuvenating. So for example, Skyrim, you don't have to buy the upgrades. You still get the X and S enhancements, you just don't get all the extra stuff. So you still get,
you don't get fishing.
No, but you still get like the 60 FPS. You still get the HDR. Forza Horizon. Me and Craig bought the expansion thing because we got Game Pass. So that will get expansion. Mass Effect Legendary Edition now has an X and S port, so I can finish 2 and 3 that were 360 games as Series S games now, 60 frames, 1080p. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for someone who has a Series S as well, like, all I want is 60 frames. I'm not fussed about 4K. Like, give me 60 frames for all of my games. It's great. Like, it's crazy. I love it. But yeah. So what we're going to say is Xbox and Switch are doing really well. PlayStation sucks. Right? We all agreed?
Yeah, they're still like, they're still going to sell as soon as they come in stock. That's the thing. They're still like doing it.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing with PlayStation is when the console revamps happen and how long this gen is. So if the Xbox Series SX and the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 stay as they currently are, and they do the traditional step up to the next boxes, that's, I think, the interesting. I don't think Xbox are going to do anything drastic. I think there'll be Series something else. I don't think there's going to be Series X2. I think it'll be like...
Well, that's what they even said, why it's called the Series, and like you're saying how easy it is to upgrade. I think, again, it's like PlayStation, you look at it, like you're saying, like the troubles of like the upgrade is the old-fashioned model. That's the PS4. This is the PS5. It's a new console. It plays new games. This is new UI. This is the new controller. It'll be the same with the PS6. It might be changed, obviously. Different things changing. The times and stuff. Where Xbox, I think you got to look at as Xbox. We don't say Xbox 360. We don't say Xbox One. We don't say Xbox Series. We go Xbox, and I think that's how you got to like look at it, because we've talked about on the cloud show. When Starfield comes out, you're going to be able to play it on PC native, PC cloud, Series S native, Series X native, through the cloud on both of them systems. You're going to be able to play it on your Xbox One, your Xbox One X, your One S, all through the cloud. You're going to be able to play it on your mobile, your tablet, and stuff like that, all with the same controller, all with the same achievements, all with the same UI and stuff like that. It's a Xbox game. I know it sounds kind of silly because you had the original Xbox, but I think that's like the two different routes. And Nintendo's just Nintendo, and obviously the Switch being portable as well is kind of different. Be interesting what happens with like the next Switch, if it's just a Switch 2 with more power or whatever. Because I feel they need to do that because it's what the big thing. But I think that's the difference. The Xbox feels more like weirdly like a PC or a mobile like phone and stuff. Like now it's like it's still an iPhone, I'm still in the Apple ecosystem, or it's still an Android phone, I'm still in the Android ecosystem sort of thing. I'm still on Steam, but now my game looks better because I've now got a 3090 graphics card or whatever. It's all about that one ecosystem, and it's like I said, it's just Xbox. With PlayStation, it's like that's like we believe in generations, even though obviously their games are cross-gen, but that's like kind of what it feels like. This is a new generation, so it does new and shiny things, sort of thing. Even though you're getting old games now.
I think part of the problem, like Dave was saying about how they've like handled that transition poorly. I think, like Chris said, they wanted it to be a very clear PS4 than PS5. The games are different. This is you said they believe in generations and all that, and I think they quickly realised that maybe people wanted that transition. People wanted the games to be cross-gen, and then they kind of had to kind of tack it on, and it became like a retrofit, and that's kind of where the problems maybe are, that this hadn't been planned out for years, like Xbox
obviously supply and demand seems like really good for both systems, and obviously we've had COVID. I don't know if that's played some part of it, because obviously GT7 was supposed to come last year and came this year, and all the rumors were like it could have been like done on PS5 and they had to do like a PS4 version. It was like planned as a PS5 only game, but because of can't meet up with demand and stuff like that, they've had to do like a PS4 version.
Yeah. I think Craig probably means more like at a system level. Like the system doesn't know how to understand that a game is a PS4, but there is a PS5 version. It doesn't seem to understand that save games can move between. It doesn't. It's the trophies. There is not. I don't think there is a single trophy list that is PS5 and PS4. I think that all PS5 has to have a separate trophy list. because of how they've made the game, how they've made their development SDK.
Yeah.
So like something
Yeah,
as simple as that is like that's
All the
not
quality
anything.
of life stuff that people
that's got
wanted.
nothing to do with sales or chips. That's literally
No,
because
but
it's they haven't
I'm just
they didn't
thinking
think it was
if there
important.
was no chip issue, would they have sold more and
Of course
it
they
wouldn't
would
have been
have. I
as
think
much of a problem? And because they're not sold as many as they would like, they've had to make a GTA, not GTA, GT7 on PS4 to like. They've had to like do the cross-gen and not be leaving generations, as they said.
I think maybe, but I think ultimately that's because the PS4 sold 110 or whatever million units. So there's that many players on PS4. Like they were foolish to do that, regardless of how many PS5s. Even if the PS5, you everyone could buy them. I don't think it would be that much more now. I think if you actually look into it, the reason it sells so well is because scalpers are still buying it and people are buying it from scalpers. Like it's easy to get a PS5 on eBay if you want to pay for it.
Yeah,
like it's really easy. It's always been really easy. It's easy to go into CEX and buy them for 700 quid. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the same for Xbox. Don't get me wrong, but because Xbox is what made the Series S, which was a genius move. That, you know what I mean? Like, there's just ways around it. Like, I just think that's an excuse. Like the PS5 has such a user base that's the user base that should have got the easy ride, not the much smaller Xbox One user base. You know what I mean? But it's again, it's what they believe in. They don't want to do the ecosystem thing. They want it to be this new platform and you buy your new games. Like that's fine. That's what they want to do, and that's working for them at the moment.
The old,
it's just whether that works. Again, that's what I think. Like I would worry if I was a PlayStation shareholder or stockholder, whether I would worry that Xbox's way of doing it is so modern and like you said, similar to the way iPhones work, the way phones work, the way Steam works, the way all that stuff works, that like if that becomes the norm, especially with the cloud services, really, like if say Luna comes out and has a splash over here, like it seems to be doing pretty well in America, like that's all subscription based and ecosystem based. You know what I mean? So like if PlayStation is the one left behind, I think that's why they've been forced to do this sort of haphazardly put together PS Plus premium thing. It's interesting. I think the PlayStation is going to go away. No, of course not. Do I think that Xbox is going to outsell PlayStation? No. Like Xbox will never be that big in Japan. It's never going to be that big in Central Europe. But it makes you think. It makes you think. Like the key territories are the UK and the US. So I could very much see an Xbox ecosystem doing better. Game Pass can get to like if Game Pass got to 40, 50, 60 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of players. And as soon as you're in that ecosystem in one way, you're in it in another. Like, if this was a laptop, not a Mac, I'd play a lot more PC games. I'd only play them on Windows. And if Craig had a PC, that would be the same for him. If he suddenly was interested, knowing that he just had to buy a PC and he's already got 70 games he can play. You know what I mean? So, but hey, that is one for the future, I think.
Does it, just a random thought, does it worry you guys, or would it worry if you were PlayStation owners, the shift of the narrative that they're talking a lot about live service now, and there seems to be a lot about making more live service games. I think me and Chris kind of defended it a few weeks ago, saying about like how Forza Horizon 5 is kind of live service and all that sort of thing. But the general live service games tend to like come out and be fairly poor. Does it kind of worry you that they're moving away from, they've done their narrative games so well for so long that now they're kind of talking about this, and are they going to be of the same quality? Like if I was a PlayStation, I'd start to maybe get a bit worried about that now, because they just seem to be talking about it at every opportunity.
Yes and no. I think that's why they've got the new studios, so they'll leave Naughty Dog alone, so Naughty Dog can make Last of Us Part 3 or whatever, and it'll come out and it'll be like a 10 out of 10 fantastic narrative-driven game. And then you get Haven, a brand new studio that's got like no expectations of it's going to be a third-person action adventure game. They can come out and do a live service game and not go like, why is Naughty Dog done a live service game? What's this? Or why is Insomniac done this? Like, we know Insomniac's doing Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine sort of thing, which should both be like you said, narrative-driven, sort of games. I think that's why you're gonna get Haven. Is it Fire Sprite or something, which is the whole Call of Duty
Yeah.
devs or something? It's gonna be like a live service person shooter. I think that's why all the new studios are gonna be doing that, maybe a bit mixed in. I think that's what they're gonna be doing, and they're not gonna have the expectation of what they're doing. Like Santa Monica does God of War, etc. Like
It's a lot
normal.
to ask new studios, isn't it? Because live service games are really difficult.
Mm.
Like you see how many of them, like even the big boys, like big developers, big publishers, have made them, and they've come and gone and failed. Like
Mm.
they are tough. Like very few of them survive, and that's successful.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a weird one. Then like you got this might be Fire Spirit. You got like the I don't know if it's which one's which. One thing like the Call of Duty guys, and the other one they're doing like VR stuff for PSVR and things like that. So they got that team. There was talk of like a team in China or something, or Canada would do VR content and stuff. So I think they're gonna get like you're the VR studios, you're the live service studios. You go and make God of War and Last of Us studios sort of thing. Like three different bits.
Hell yeah. Be interesting to
Yeah.
see if anything changes should Xbox start hitting these big narrative games. But I think that's a question. I think that's something that people have said for literally 10 years at this point. So we'll see. But yeah, good discussion, boys. Good discussion. Well, it's been fun. Obviously, we have to get back to our Xboxes now because I think there's achievements to be achieved. But if you'd like to follow us, you can.
There's
follow
no
us.
achievements on Switch.
There
They've
is.
got missions now.
There is
got four missions
God.
a week, which I've already done my missions for the week.
So I want this is the comment. So I'm going to start asking for a comment of the week here. Put in the comments how long it's going to be until Chris moves all of his money, love, and attention to a different platform. Will Switch survive all year, or will Chris suddenly be back into PlayStation or Xbox or Luna or Stadia or something by like July, where he's like, I've sold all the Nintendo stuff. I'm only buying Sega now. So we'll see.
Only if they did a console.
Get the Mega Drive Mini. You can follow me at YouWithGizmo on most of the socials. You can follow Chris at MassiveDas on the socials.
Yes.
You can follow Craig in the street because he doesn't believe in such things. Thank you for watching the show. I hope you've had fun. We will see you next time.
Bye.